Good morning and welcome to Game Day Preview with myself and Matisse.
Yes, pleasure.
Pleasure.
Good to be back. Especially after yesterday.
I know, Matisse rang me last night. I don't think anyone was picking up the phone after Tottenham crashed out of the FA Cup. Did you expect me to be a bit more angry?
Yeah, I did, man. You were really calm and accepting, and I was like, damn it, this is not what I came for.
There's no tears. There's no tears from me, guys. You all know how I feel. There's no tears. Shall we actually start with Tottenham then?
Yeah, I think we have
let's
to.
have a little look at Tottenham. Went out last night to Sheffield. Performance was very poor. Again, made loads of changes to that starting 11. I don't know who they think they are. I mean,
who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? This is their opportunity to try and get to a semi-final of an FA Cup. Cup they haven't won.
It would have been Blackburn next.
Yeah, Blackburn next at home. What a great draw that would have been. And then, who knows?
Yeah.
But they decided to, choose violence again and not do that. And just disappointing, so disappointing from, the managerial aspects of it, making all those changes. But as I was just saying to you before we started, I'm actually done blaming the manager when it comes to cups, because however many managers Tottenham have had, we always go out of the cups and they always make these changes. So for me, it must be something that's coming from a higher power above.
I don't get it, because like you're saying, it would have been a really favourable run to the semi-final. You'd have Blackburn next, and I'm looking at your recent record of FA Cup exits, and it's always to teams in the lower leagues, the Middlesbroughs. I remember the Colchester shock as well all those years ago. So I don't really understand the logic behind resting players in your only realistic shot at a trophy when Man City and Man United are kind of the only maybe top
Danjuma
competitors. I heard Danjuma didn't get...
Danjuma came on for the last 10 minutes and...
Why didn't he not start? I thought he was definitely going to start after starting against Preston.
It really begs the question, because I think to myself, you've brought in Danjuma to play, I assume, in these type of games, or to come off the bench. You opted to go for a 35-year-old, maybe he's a bit younger, but Lucas Moura
came on.
He started the game.
Lucas Moura started?
He started the game. It just begs the question, why have you brought in someone like Danjuma when what you needed, for example, was a Trossard?
Why?
And all you bid was 12 million for Trossard, but you wanted to go and get Danjuma.
Yeah.
It doesn't really... It doesn't really make any sense.
Trossard is literally ripping it up at Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we needed. Someone in that midfield who can also score goals. Yeah. It's exactly 1 year to the day that Spurs were beaten by the same score against Middlesbrough, and also knocked out. So it's something that Tottenham do all the time in the cups, and I've just given up caring.
Yeah, AC Milan or bust it, I guess.
Well, you say yes. I mean, we're not going to win the Champions League, are we? So. To be honest with you, I sometimes think it's better that Tottenham aren't in any competitions whatsoever other than just the Premier League, and then can just focus on that. And you laugh, but at the same time, I look at teams that don't have to play for anything. And if you don't think you've got a squad big enough to fight on any other front, then just focus on the Premier League. Yeah,
4 weeks training, literally just put your best out there. Also, we had a lot of other results there. Man United obviously winning against West Ham. They're coming from behind again. Ten Hag, I think that's maybe the fourth game in a row they've come from behind to win. Also, the Premier League action with Liverpool winning. Yeah, Liverpool. With 2-0 win there.
Arsenal, 4-0 win over Everton.
Yeah.
That was expected. That was their game in hand.
Yeah.
5 points clear at the top. Southampton going out to Grimsby last night.
Yeah, I mean, that only makes my result against them even more damning, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, equally, same with Tottenham when it comes to Leicester. I mean, Leicester getting absolutely battered everywhere they go at the moment, but, look like prime Barcelona when Tottenham came to town.
Yeah.
Fulham knocking out Leeds. Manchester City coolly beating Bristol City 3-0. Brighton with a win as well. A few good teams left in there, a few surprise teams as well.
Yeah, there is. I'm sure the people want to know if you want to speak on the Arsenal performance. Probably not.
Do I want to speak on the Arsenal performance?
It was so comprehensive, honestly. Everton, they tried to do what Newcastle did with the 4-5-1. Yeah. Really defensive, packed the midfield, but they didn't have the concentration to really see it out. And I said at the time when Newcastle did that, they need a lot of credit, because it was very difficult to go to the Emirates and stop them from scoring. And you make one slip up and next thing you know, you've conceded. And that's exactly what they did. They allowed that pocket of space for Saka, right foot, ruthless into the top corner. He's one of the only left-footed wingers that I actually see using their right foot. I was saying it on the watch-along yesterday.
You don't see it too much anymore.
Most right wingers that are left-footed, they just predominantly always use their left foot. Like Anthony, you know, Ziyech, they don't even want to pass. They don't want to receive the ball with their right. They don't want to do anything with their right. It's like they don't even have a right leg. Whereas Saka is more than happy to blast it with his right foot at the near post like Sergio Aguero. So I don't know.
That's a sign of a good player.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that kid, man. He needs to chill. It's only football, man. Relax.
I know, but that is their game in hand. They're 5 points clear. Still a long way to go in the season, but it's looking good for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at the weekend's games. It is Manchester City. They are taking on Newcastle. This is actually quite a good game.
Yeah, it is a good game. I mean, Newcastle are now out. You know, the Carabao Cup's over.
It's how they're going to bounce back.
So now it's time to respond. Exactly. The kind of narrative was that Newcastle were maybe focusing on the Carabao Cup, and it maybe was playing in their heads, which is understandable. It's a cup final, massive opportunity to get a trophy, big day out for the supporters. They seem to love it, enjoy it. I'm sure they're going to have trips like that again in the next couple of years. But now it's time to get back to the Premier League and fight for top four. Make a good fight of it. I don't think the transfer window that they had really pushed them in the right elevated them. Yeah, they didn't get a midfielder. They let Shelvey go, which I was shocked about. They needed a midfielder before they even let Shelvey go. And
also, I'd say a striker. Like they need something up front.
Yeah, I mean, Alexander Isak is back, but he's obviously back from a huge injury, so it's difficult to judge him.
That takes time, but I think just from watching over the season so far, and also on Sunday, they weren't poor in that game against Manchester United, but it's the final third that seems to always let them down. So that's something they absolutely need to address in the summer. Following their 3-3 draw at St James's Park in August against Manchester City, Newcastle were looking to avoid defeat in both games against them. That will be the first time they've managed to do that since 2004-2005.
I mean, listen, this Man City team, they, in the last couple of weeks, in my opinion, have been a lot better. Even when they have dropped points, I'd say their performances have been better. Against Nottingham Forest, they just missed a catalogue of chances. And they're looking a little bit more serious than they were, say, at the start of the year. But this is still a big game. This is still a very difficult team to break down in Newcastle in terms of their defence. Man United obviously got the job done in the end. It's funny because when Man United were leading 2-0, I was saying that I still feel like Newcastle have been the better team, even though they're 2-0 down. But, that's football doesn't work that way all the time for teams. So I think Man City, I would expect them to win this game, considering the pressure now. They're going
to want to close that gap.
They have to. They can't continue.
They can't afford to.
They can't afford to keep dropping points.
I can't afford for them to keep doing it.
Arsenal are very serious. They've responded to that little blip they've had. Battered Everton yesterday, playing some great football. Odegaard made a slide tackle and then it turned into a skill move. I've never seen that before. No. Don't think that's even on FIFA. So I don't know what button he pressed in his head, but this guy is playing brilliantly as well. They're just on song, and now that they've moved Trossard down the middle, it looks like they could go on potentially another run. So Man City have to win. They have to get back and focus. They got Leipzig as well. Maybe that may have a little impact.
Another thing with City, that Kevin De Bruyne hasn't featured as much.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, he's been on the bench a lot, but I feel like when Kevin De Bruyne's on, he's the most likely to find Haaland in the quickest fashion. He's very direct. He'll play that ball around the corner in the right channel, and then maybe a Mahrez or whoever will play on that right will kind of tuck in and cut inside, and it's a nice dynamic they have. But they've taken him out, and De Bruyne's been weird this season because there's been a lot of games where I'm like, that's De Bruyne. That's why he's the best midfielder in the league. And then there's been other games where he's either come on against Southampton in the cup or whatever have you will, and he's not played well. He's not really been very influential. So we've seen Man City teams cope without De Bruyne before. They actually won the league basically without him because he was injured. And Gundogan stepped up, and all Bernardo Silva. And all these other guys. But again,
they weren't in this a bit of a transitional period embedding Haaland.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on there with De Bruyne in terms of maybe just a bit of rotation. Foden's getting some minutes now, but I'm sure he'll be back in the team soon.
All right, what's your prediction for that one?
I'm gonna go with a Man City win. It's what I need. 2-0 City.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Something's telling me 3-1 City.
Okay.
3-1 City.
Yeah.
Turkish is in the chat. He's sending eye emojis. Good morning, Turkish. Yes,
he's alive. He's alive. Man. Look at him. He's all over the chats. I think he was in my chat yesterday as well. He's lurking, man.
He's always lurking.
He wants that Arsenal conversation.
Yeah, I know. So we will talk about Arsenal again more in detail. But for now, let's move on. Let's talk about Tottenham. They are away at Wolves.
Tough game.
Really tough game.
Wolves. I watched Wolves against Liverpool. They almost had me. Wolves almost had me. They were one of them ones that were baiting me in because they've played Liverpool about 3 times already this year before that game.
Yeah.
Each time they've coped very, very well. Obviously beat them in the league, nearly knocked them out of the cup. They tried their best in the replay. And their bench actually was quite strong. They had Pedro Neto's back, Podence is back, and then you've got Traore, and then Costa as well, who's probably only going to be good for about 15-10 minutes at the end of a match. But they have options, and that's on top of the starting 11 with Núñez and Moutinho and Neves and whatnot. So they're almost too good to go down, in my opinion, in terms of the quality that they have in that team. And they've been unlucky with some injuries up front, Guedes as well. So I would say this is a very difficult game for Tottenham, even though Wolves are obviously down the negative end of the table. And because Tottenham are very unpredictable, you just don't know what you're going to get. One minute you get a City win, then you get a Leicester slapping.
They are consistently inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yes. Following Tottenham's 1-0 win against them in August, they're looking to complete a Premier League double over Wolves for just the second time. Last time they did it was in 2003-2004. So historically, Tottenham have always actually struggled against Wolves. And also, Tottenham have lost their last 3 away games, many as they have in their previous 14 on the road. They haven't lost consecutive away games since September 2021. So there's, well, actually, that's not that long ago, to be fair. But
that's tough.
It's a really tough game.
Because Wolves won't kind of play into your hands, which is maybe they'll be happy to
Tottenham like teams that want to play on the front foot,
themselves,
and be expressive, and
Wolves won't do that.
No.
Wolves will sit in and look to play on those transitions. It'll be tough.
Really, honestly, I'm struggling to call this one.
Who's in charge? Because if it's, Stellini has 100% record in the Premier League.
God knows. I assume it's still Stellini.
Yeah.
I think if he's coming back, Conte, if he's coming back, then maybe. Unfortunately, it'll probably be for the Champions League game.
Okay.
And then we'll get knocked out.
Yeah, do you know what? The fact that you do have a Champions League game and you're only 1-0 down to an AC Milan team now, that plays a part, maybe, I don't know, in your mindset?
I actually don't think that is a particularly poor result.
No.
I really don't. I
do think you could have got better, but you're not out of it. You're very much in it.
We're still very much in it. It just depends on the performance we can put in at home. AC Milan have been pretty poor this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that just having a 1-0,
deficit.
Fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What's your scoreline?
I'm gonna go with a 1-1. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 1-1. Wolves aren't like prolific with Jimenez up top. He's not really looked the same since the head injury. But you guys have got an eye on the champs, so I'm gonna just split it down the middle.
I think so. I can see that.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to match you. LJ Brown on the super chat says Abby is just being just Spurs being Spursy. Mario Kart racing. Spurs are Spursy. Rahul says happy birthday expressions. Is it expressions birthday?
It is his birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, X.
I remember him saying yesterday that this is an awful birthday present. What Tottenham have.
I've had some horrific birthday presents from Tottenham as well. So unfortunately, it's just the way
I've started calling him regressions now. He doesn't like it.
Regressions
is
like
his new nickname, yeah. Regressions.
Right, let's move on to another regression in Chelsea.
You're good.
Chelsea, they take on Leeds at Stamford Bridge this weekend. You and I have been talking. Apparently, Potter only has a few games to prove himself.
Well, according to the board, for most of the fan base...
They've changed the tune.
Yeah, for most of the fan base, he should have been gone after Southampton, really. He has a couple of games, apparently. It's mixed reporting. Some people are saying that internally they're still backing him and trying to get behind the manager. Also, other reports are saying that our new director of football, Christopher Vell, is not really convinced and is concerned and is looking at other options. So Leeds and Dortmund are the 2 pivotal games for him.
Come on, Chelsea.
For me, I've already lost trust. I've started looking at other managers already. I think he should have probably gone by now, to be honest. I don't think it's a situation where I really dislike him, or I really think it's completely all his fault. And I don't think it's like a situation where the circumstances aren't difficult, but like I said, your position is, for me, untenable now. It's like your results are just crazy. You're not winning any games. You're not picking up any points.
You're not scoring goals.
You're not scoring any goals. And it's like, despite the fact that, yes, it's not the easiest situation to deal with the squad, I know somebody else would do a much better job, and somebody else that we could say we could still give a long-term vision to. It's not like as if that person has to be a Simeone or a Mourinho. In my video today on my channel, I said Poch would be the guy. I think there's Enrique, there's Flick. I think their time span is a lot shorter in terms of what they've done at Barcelona and Bayern, even though they're level is higher, what they've achieved with the trophies they've won. I don't have such a wide time span to look at. Germany, Spain, poor World Cups, Roma, Celta Vigo for Enrique, not the best. So they've done brilliant things, but I don't know if it translates over as much, whereas Poch has got a much wider CV, you know, Southampton, Tottenham, PSG, and I'm really impressed in the way he develops young players.
It's really
and the way
funny
you spoke about him.
It's really funny how much you've changed your tune.
No, it's just no. I've always rated Poch. I've always given Poch his flowers.
Someone find the clips, please.
You will not find a clip in this world of me not saying that Poch is overhated and underrated. I've always said that I've got a soft spot for Poch, and I know you do too, which is what makes it even better.
He's not for you.
I think if we were to get Poch, and you know, you always take our managers. I feel like
I don't want your managers.
You always take our managers.
I don't want them.
It's time we take yours. It's time we take yours. You're best. You're very best.
We need Poch. I want Poch back.
No.
And I tell you what will happen. You'll sack Potter.
Nah.
You'll get Poch.
Yeah.
The week later, we'll probably sack Conte.
And you'll get Potter.
No, we'll probably get Tuchel. I don't want Tuchel.
Tuchel ain't good. Nah, actually, maybe he would.
I don't want Thomas Tuchel.
He supports you guys.
Great. I don't know why.
Listen, when it comes to Poch,
I don't want Tuchel. I want Poch back. He's not for you. You will never appreciate him the way that we appreciate him.
I will appreciate. All right. I saw what he did at Tottenham, getting them to a Champions League final with no money at Wembley, constantly for 2 seasons. Yes, PSG wasn't great, but egos, politics, still won the league in the end. I feel like this guy can elevate and continue to keep going. He's a great coach, develops young players. There's a whole heap of them in the roster. Kane, Ali, Shaw. I understand why you like him now.
Me.
This is, yes, bring me Pochettino.
No.
Yes, he has the Premier League experience.
You and me are going to fall out very, very
well,
big time.
You slated me on Monday. Now I rang you yesterday. It's getting a bit heated.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Let's just quickly read through some of the chats and what they think about that. Kevin Armoa says, I want Chelsea to win to prolong Potter's stay. Me too. Come on, Chelsea. Big Chelsea fan this weekend. Henry says, give Potter time. Ahmed says, Diego Simeone is what Chelsea need. I don't think you prime away.
Absolutely not. I don't want to see Diego Simeone anywhere near my football club. I'm not watching that football. His football is criminal. If he comes, he has to win every trophy available, do a quadruple. That's the only way I'm going to survive.
To be fair. LJ Brown says, Abby, don't have it. Matisse is trying to steal Poch. Yes, I know. Tenditum says Matisse, Poch. Surely there are better picks. Yeah, there are.
People say there's better picks.
You're big time Chelsea. You don't need him.
People say there's better picks, but I feel like Poch is like the fun person to kind of undermine at the moment. When he was at Tottenham, everybody was like, "Rah, this guy is such a quality manager. Look what he's doing with Alderweireld and Vertonghen and Kane and Ali and Eriksen." Now everybody has seen
I could make the argument that with that team, should have won something.
Should have won something, but Conte's now come in, not won anything. Mourinho's not won anything. It's clearly in the
but we don't have that same squad anymore.
Fair enough. He came very close in the Champions League. I admit he has some flaws. He has. I mentioned his flaws in terms of he has fallen at the hurdle a few times, but I don't believe that's something that sticks with someone. I do believe he can learn from that and override that. And we've had managers that have come in like Asari, who maybe hasn't won the most trophies before, and they've come and got the Europa League, or they've sealed the deal there. So I do think we can help him. You know,
Genya makes a very good point. He says Poch is just another failure. I'm not saying he's a failure, but he failed at PSG because he can't handle big teams and big players.
I think that's unfair. I think if you put him in a different club, I think PSG is a very special club. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of egos. There's families getting involved. The Leonardo situation. Mm-hmm. No manager at PSG has survived. Tuchel hasn't survived. It would take like maybe an Ancelotti or someone to go in there, maybe, and kind of handle that situation. I don't think Poch's kind of style of football in terms of pressing from the front, most distance covered by Southampton, then Tottenham in all those years in the Premier League kind of suits a Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, egotistical front three. So I think it's very harsh to judge Poch off of a club that have always struggled to keep things calm in their ecosystem. They're wild. So I think Poch could handle the Mudryks and the Enzo Fernandezes. They're young, hungry players. He develops players. Done.
Okay, prediction. We need to crack on. Prediction.
She ain't liking this. This dynamic is brilliant.
I'll be vile if you.
Who's playing again?
Chelsea.
Oh
Leeds.
God, yeah. I've tried to bring up my own spirits because Chelsea, if I talk about that too much, it'd be a long day. Leeds coming to Chelsea. I'm gonna go with a. Do you know what? Yeah, Leeds under Alex Garcia, new manager bounce. 1-1.
Okay, right. I'm gonna go with a Chelsea win.
Because you want it, because Poch.
1-0. 1-0 Chelsea.
He's unemployed.
Win.
He's not going to cost anything.
1-0 Chelsea win. Right, moving on. Brighton, West Ham. Brighton through to the semi-finals. West Ham knocked out last night. How do you see this one looking?
Interesting one, because West Ham, they weren't too bad at Old Trafford in the first half. They created chances. They looked like they were moving in the right direction. They took the lead. Didn't seal the deal with the second, and then kind of just Man Utd did what Man Utd do. So, but they have a lot of good players, West Ham. I still am shocked to this day that they're down there. Obviously, David Moyes has taken a lot of responsibility for that. Their 11, when you put it out, is a strong 11 in terms of a team that should be minimum top 10. But they're going to Brighton. They're going to a team that have it all figured out under De Zerbi. I know they've had a few up and down results, Fulham and whatnot, but I do think Brighton are going to win this game. They got the quality. They got the confidence over West Ham. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Brighton win.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Brighton win.
Okay.
Right, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. Since the start of last season, Crystal Palace have won just 10% of their Premier League games that Wilfried Zaha has not played in. That's 1 out of 10, compared to 35% when he features. I mean, this is kind of like mid-table, isn't it? Like, it's a bit of a nothing game.
It is a bit of a nothing game, but Palace don't have enough points to say that it's over in terms of safety. I don't expect them to be involved, but they do need to win along the way and pick up some points as you go, even if it's not consistent. And they are in some poor form. I don't think they've won a game this year, right? I think that's the case. I watched them against Liverpool in the 0-0. They could have easily beaten Liverpool at Selhurst if they had finished their chances. Mateta again. I don't rate him. I don't rate Ayew up front either. It's just they need a striker badly. It's so clear. It's clear as day. They've got nice chance creation with Elise, with Eze when he came off the bench, Zaha when he's back fit. You know, the defence is a nice base with Gurhi, Anderson, Mitchell, but they need a striker, because I've seen far too many games from Palace, especially also at home to Tottenham, when you slap them 4-0. But the first half, Palace play well. They actually are in the game. You can see some quality. Don't take the chances, then they get punished. So, yeah, I think Palace are in a strange place, kind of not really progressing, but they're kind of just floating. And I'm going to go with a 1-1.
1-1?
Yeah, 1-1.
I think this. I'm going to edge Villa.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Villa win.
Yeah.
Right, Arsenal. They are at home to Bournemouth. Could it get any easier for them? Bournemouth have won just one of their last 9 Premier League games. They've drawn 2 and they've lost 6. Get away from me with your salt. It did come in their last away match though, 1-0 at Wolves. I mean, this is pretty much...
I'll let you talk on Arsenal.
No,
I know you love it. I spoke about Arsenal just now with the Everton. Come on, we've got to share the workload here. I'm not talking about Arsenal twice, because I don't enjoy talking about how good they are.
Yeah, they're very good. They're a very good side. At home, I expect them to absolutely batter Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Oshki Foy in the chat says Arsenal 5-0. That's actually what I was going to go for. But who knows? Maybe Bournemouth can...
No.
Who knows?
No, they can't. I mean...
Stranger things have happened. Tottenham got to a Champions League final.
Yeah,
That's
I know. It happens, but Arsenal for me are walking this... that change from Trossard, from Nketiah has given the team a new dynamic in terms of their build-up play. I think Saka is just, honestly, I think Saka has a shout to be... I think he deserves to be in the conversation with Young Player of the Year.
Absolutely.
I know Haaland is setting records, but I think Saka has now 19 goal contributions in 25 games. And the thing is with Saka is he's involved, like heavily involved. Yeah. So he's just, he's, let me not, because he's just, it's just
Saka's
ridiculous.
Brilliant. So is Odegaard.
Really making me annoyed. Yeah. Pain.
Just pure pain.
Zinchenko as well. Zinchenko, brilliant.
Zinchenko has been brilliant.
He was involved in one of the goals, and quality. So for me, I'm going with an Arsenal battering. I'm going to go with like a 5-0, man.
Oh, we'd match him.
I think they're going to walk.
Maybe I'll go 4.
Yeah, they're going to walk them.
Okay, that was fun. Let's look at Southampton, Leicester. 2 sides. I mean, Southampton. I don't know. Look, they've got their new manager Ruben Sellers into the end of the season.
Yeah.
Leicester, like I just mentioned before, got out the cup. Brilliant against Tottenham. Terrible against everyone else.
Yeah.
How do you see this one going?
Inconsistent. Really hard to call because Southampton do have something to bring. I saw them at Chelsea. They beat us. They have a lot of P&P in that team that's just come in. Some new faces. They pose a threat. when they play at their best, they're actually a decent team. I don't know how they're where they are, but I asked that of every team almost down there, to be honest. The Premier League, the quality, the standard right now is ridiculous. So, and then, you know, when it comes down to the opposition, obviously, inconsistent. Maddison, is he available? I don't know.
I don't know. He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't last week.
No,
I think he was out with illness.
Last week. This team is make or break with Maddison. Really, is how I see it at this point. I know Iheanacho scored some goals here and there. People talk about Tielemans. I don't rate him as high as most. I think Maddison is the make or break. Harvey Barnes, they got some good players, but he just changes everything. When he's playing, that team just transforms into something actually semi-serious. So I'm going to go with a Southampton win because I think they're desperate and they kind of have to get points on the board. I'm going to go over 2-1 Southampton. Okay,
the fact that it is at home, I'm leaning more towards that. But then again, I think it could be a draw. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0. Right, Nottingham Forest, Everton. I mean, Everton off the back of the battering by Arsenal last night.
Confidence.
Would you say that Sean Dyche has improved them so far?
I think
there's a lot of work to be done.
It's tough. It's really tough because he'll organise them and he'll do that, but he's working with a very, very bad attack. He's obviously brought McNeil in. I preferred Iwobi actually in central midfield where Lampard was playing him. To be quite honest, I don't think he's as effective going forward on the right. I do think Demarai Gray is an option that is not maybe being used as much as he could be. Where you would put him in, obviously he prefers to cut in off the left. McNeil's out there to put those crosses in, so it's a problem. And the striker, Ty's favourite. I mean, he was
Neil Mopai.
I really don't rate him. He just doesn't do anything for me. He doesn't take his chances. I'm starting to think he's not a striker, and he might actually be a second striker. No, genuinely, because he can't shoot. Like, his shooting is just so wild. He hit someone in the stands in that game for no reason, unprovoked. You know what I mean? So he actually annoys me to this point. I don't like it when these teams, I can see they're trying their best and then they have a striker that just completely lets them down. And maybe it's Chelsea PTSD, to be honest. So, yeah, Everton, they need points. Nottingham Forest are a solid team. At home as well, their record is strong. So actually, bearing in mind what Nottingham Forest do at home and the fact that they've obviously, managed to integrate everybody now, their away record's been poor, but I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest win at home.
I think so as well. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Forest win.
Yeah.
And finally, Sunday. I mean, there's a big game on Sunday and we've barely even... I've hardly heard any build-up for it.
Yeah,
Liverpool against Manchester United. Rashford has scored 10 goals in his last 10 Premier League games. He is in the company of 3 other Manchester United legends who have done that, who are Ruud van Nistelrooy, Eric Cantona and Ronaldo. So, I mean, he's absolutely on fire. They'll be buzzing off that win as well.
Massive.
From the Carabao Cup. This can elevate them further. They're technically on for a quadruple.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get it, but I mean the reason why it's not getting the hype is simple. Bahrain Grand Prix on, and obviously I'm covering that. Yeah, I'm covering that. Far superior to any match between these two, obviously. So, but yeah, this is going to be interesting because Man United keep conceding goals at the beginning of games. They did it against Leicester. They've done it against Barcelona. They've done it against West Ham.
But they're resilient.
They keep coming back. So it's an interesting situation. Liverpool are not firing on all cylinders up front. They obviously didn't score against Crystal Palace, but then they scored a couple there in the last game against Wolves. So I think Núñez is crucial. He's for me the one that is kind of
coming into himself a little bit now,
he's really started to push along last few weeks, to be honest. I'm quite...
The goal he scored against Madrid was
exceptional goal. Honestly, him and Salah, the link up there was ridiculous. So but Liverpool's defence, I can't trust them. I can't trust them, especially against Man United. I think Man United are going to do exactly what we expect. They're going to sit in. They're going to allow maybe Liverpool to have that high line, Liverpool don't even want to dominate possession anyway, so it will be very back and forth. But Man United will sit in. They'll look for that counter-attack with Rashford. Garnacho keeps coming off the bench with great impact as well. He scored again yesterday. And they've got Anthony and Sancho and these options to help. So I think Man United... going to Liverpool and winning is a big.
Well, they haven't won there in the previous, I think it's 6 potentially. So,
do you know what? Rashford. I'm saying it's going to be his day.
I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to go 2-2.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Man United win.
Okay.
I think Rashford's going to do a madness against that Liverpool defence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. I'm going to give some credit to United there. I think they can... Liverpool, sorry. I still think that I can't write them off yet.
For top 4?
Yeah, I can't write them off.
I think that's because of how poor Tottenham are.
Can't write them off.
Newcastle falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, finally, Brentford against Fulham, Monday night. This is a nice, tasty little battle between the two of them.
It is. Both teams chasing Europa League football. I don't think both will get it, but one or one of them, and then Brighton as well. I think with Brentford, with this Ivan Toney situation, it's interesting to see what happens, because if he does get the ban soon, I think he put up an Instagram story saying that he kind of was really annoyed with the FA in terms of the way they're handling the situation.
It's been leaked.
There's been a lot of leaks, and they're still dealing with the case. It's not concluded. It hasn't been, it hasn't gone through its final process. Will that have an effect? Probably not. I think at this point he's over it. He's also doing that a lot as well. He just doesn't care. He's kind of overriding anything that's being said about him online. So he wants to prove a point again. Probably will score if he's on. Fulham, good team. Battle between Toney and Mitrovic if everybody's available. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. I'm going to go over 2-2. I think it's been a great game.
I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't know. Part of me is thinking a draw, but then I think I'm going to back Fulham. I actually think we've got Fulham really soon.
We had Fulham, and we've
got a feeling we've got them.
Fulham did a double over us. I don't even know anymore. No, they didn't. We escaped. We got.
I'm going to go with a Fulham 2-1.
Okay.
2-1.
Yeah.
Right, before we wrap up, some more super chats. Kay says, Matisse, how about we give Potter time to build his team and his own image? Let's say 7 years and compete, or just get rid at the end of next season. I agree. I think you should be giving him time. Let him embed himself. Let his ideas come in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the 7-year part, but I agree on getting rid of in next season. I want him to have a pre-season. I think he deserves it. You've uprooted his whole life.
We have, and we've took Bruno and all of his friends with him from Brighton, so it's not like as if he hasn't got friends.
Give this guy a moment.
I would ideally love to, but if he keeps losing, Abby.
Yeah, but let him have a pre-season. You've brought in a whole new squad.
I'm going to ask you, if we lose to Leeds, Dortmund, and say lose again after that, and then we've got all these away fixtures coming up to United, to City, to Arsenal, and we're dwindling in 13th, 6 points off the relegation, still give him time.
Yep.
You're a hater.
Ashby says, I do hope that United and Liverpool games live up to the hype. They're two historic rivals and top two successful clubs, but rarely translates into the game. Oh, we've seen some good ones. Remember, didn't Liverpool beat them like 4?
Liverpool United?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've seen some great games. I remember Torres sitting down Ferdinand. I mean, it was a long time ago, but yeah, this game's
well, we'll see, because they're not at the same level anymore. This is the first time in a long time that you would say United.
But Liverpool are at home,
the upper hand.
And Liverpool feel that pressure from the crowd to show themselves up. So that's where they'll leave that space for United.
Yeah. Darren says, even though Abby is a Spurs fan, I think she's beautiful. That's very sweet. Thank you. Arsenal will win again this weekend too. Not so nice. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. There's been loads of you in with us today. Also, please head over to our brand new F1 channel. We're very excited about it. It's called On Track GP. Yep. We're going to be dropping some shows for you, probably today or tomorrow.
This rivalry continues. You love it.
Very exciting.
Red Bull Mercedes. We've
got some great guests as well that are going to be with us throughout the season as well. Saturday, I am here.
Qualifying. Do you know who you're with, or are you doing this alone?
I've got no idea who I'm with, but I'm doing qualifying on Saturday, and Matisse is with you for the race on Sunday. So make sure you go over, subscribe the channel. Yeah. Super excited, and don't forget to also like and subscribe on DR Sports as well. Good luck to all your teams this weekend, especially Chelsea.
I don't agree with that.
We'll see you back here for Monday for Roundtable.